Good morning. Good morning, Catherine. Yes, happy Sunday. Yes, happy Sunday. Ooh, this is not what I want. All right, hopefully, there we go. Good morning, Carolyn. Thanks for joining. I am going to make a suggestion. Good morning, Alice, Rocky, and Joan. And that is if you do have something to write with, sorry, talking to the wrong camera. If you do have something to write with and a little pad, just something to write a little something, and you have a second now to gather that, that would be great as we're waiting for folks. Not a big writing assignment, but just something I think I'm going to try. So again, also welcome Betty. And if you have anywhere lying around, pencil, paper, something to write on, that would be great. Good morning, Tuesday. Tuesday, I think I have the link for giving money online, up and going. So I'm really going to try to not have you need to put that on. But if you could still be prepared, that would be great. Good morning again, Betty. Give folks a few minutes to join us. Looks like another really nice day out today. I see we've got 8 people online. If you've got a chance to say hello to us online in the chat, that'd be great. Love to know who's joining us today. And I am suggesting that if you have a pen and a little something to write on, and you've got that handy, that would be great. Good morning, Kent. Nice to see you. Good morning, Nancy. Nice to see you as well. We'll give it another minute or so. Why don't we get going about 10:34, I think. Nancy, it was great to see you last night at the fantastic concert. Yes, good morning to everyone. Good morning, Hilda. Thanks for joining us. I am just making a quick invitation. Those who've been on for a while are getting tired of hearing me do it. If you do have a pen and a pad of paper handy to just jot a couple of sentences down, I'd invite you while we're waiting this final minute to grab that so you've got it. Yes, Nancy, it was a beautiful concert. It was fantastic. My friend brought a couple of friends, and actually a friend who had gone to the last concert 2 weeks ago, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? And he raved about it so much that they came again. So that was great. Good morning, Pam. Nice to see you. Nice to see you at the concert last night. Good morning, Rose and Jane. Nice to have you joining us also. All right, well, I think we're close to getting started, but I am a final time for now going to say if you have a pen handy and a pad of paper, as we're just getting going, I'm going to ask you if you feel like it to write down a couple of things. So if you get that moment to grab that pen and paper, that would be great. Hi, Joan. And yeah, it was nice to do some recording. And actually, I was trying to think after I got home, what can I do for music? And I thought, hey, we've got some music we can do for our service today. So I'm going to be doing that. Good morning, Chelsea. Thanks for joining. All right. So first of all, welcome to our Sunday morning service. As we say here at Tri-C, welcome home. And that's definitely true. Good morning, Christine. Nice to see you. All right, so let me share my screen. There we go. And that and that. All right. Hopefully folks are seeing my screen. There it goes. Looks like I'm seeing it on camera as well. So that's great. So for our call to being, it is a quote from a book. If you've been at church when I have had the pleasure of doing some speaking, you know that this is a quote that I go to a lot. Some of you may be saying, oh, he's talking about the lake again. But it's definitely one that I find meaningful and definitely thought about as I wanted to share today. So the quote is from Pema Chodron. She is a Buddhist nun. And this comes from her book titled When Things Fall Apart, Heart Advice for Difficult Times. Well-being of the mind is like a mountain lake without ripples. When the lake has no ripples, everything in the lake can be seen. When the water is all churned up, nothing can be seen. The still lake without ripples is an image of our minds at ease, so full of unlimited friendliness for all the junk at the bottom of the lake that we don't feel the need to churn up the waters just to avoid looking at what's there. And our second call to being quote is from someone who I know gets quoted a lot here at Tri-C, one of our social work heroines, sheroes, and that is Brene Brown in her book, The Gift of Imperfection. Faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear of uncertainty. All right, so what am I going to be talking about today? I'm basically just going to share some recent questions that I have on my current faith journey, and wanted to share those with you all. One is that faith is hard. And I love that picture. That's definitely how I feel sometimes thinking about my faith. My relationship with God and Jesus is complicated. My hunch is there may be some of you who are similar with me on that. We'll see. You know, and part of it is I'm trying to see and befriend things I'd rather not. And that is the quote from our first call to being. And having trusting faith of things I can't see at all is kind of a challenge for me as well. So these are the two things I'm going to chat a little bit about with you. And my journey is made a lot easier by my traveling companions, especially those who have different perspectives and at the same time have my back. Those are, I think, the best types of journey companions on a journey of faith. It is this community that makes my hard work easier. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And then at the end, again, I'm going to ask you to think a little bit about yourself as well. So if you do have a pen handy, piece of paper, want to grab that, I'm going to make an invitation to you to use that in a couple of minutes. So if you got that pad of paper and pencil handy, that'd be great. All right. Our first reading is from Mark chapter 4, verses 35 through 41. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. And other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And then there's this guy. So, he seems so happy, right? He's just like, Alaska just scored the winning touchdown for the game. And he is just this proud alum. Maybe it's even his grandson that scored the touchdown. He's just a happy guy. So nice to see happy people. But as you can also see, he's got some interesting signs as well. And he apparently thinks that God hates fags, and the fags doom nations. So all my life, I can say I've known that not all Christians believe this, even come close to this. And that's obviously been something that's very reassuring. And at the same time, there are folks like him out there, right? And this message has at times really kind of given Christianity a bit of a bum rap, right? So, definitely he, and maybe not him directly, but his signs and his message and his take on homosexuality and God is definitely part of my journey. And especially when you're younger and you're trying to figure out what you believe and what you don't and where things are, and you hear adults kind of saying some of these things, well, it's tough. It gets to be part of what you at least have to weigh, right? And what you have to think about. So again, he seems okay with where he is, at least in that moment. I don't know where he might be right now. But his archetype, if we call that, of belief, is definitely part of when I think about my journey of faith. It's definitely part of it. I know that's part of why I became involved with the churches, marching in the Pride Parade. Definitely to have the opportunity to have a different witness about God. But this guy is there, and was there growing up. And then I hit my early teens, and I had a period where I thought, well, maybe he is right. Because the pandemic of HIV hit, as I was just, 1981. So my freshman year or so in high school. And this picture is a young man needing to be helped by his parents in his boyhood bedroom. And, seeing images like that as you're just becoming aware of your own identity was definitely challenging for me and scary. And even though I was living in Indiana and pretty far at that point from San Francisco and New York, where those early cases of AIDS were hitting, this was challenging, right? And just as now is a time of pandemic, it can be a time of challenging our faith. And definitely, this was a period for me, and maybe whether it was, God's punishment or the world's punishment, whatever it may have been. I wanted to share with you all that this is definitely part of where I come from, in thinking about who I am, and who I want to be, and some of those messages that came about. And this is a picture of yours truly. As you can see, it looks to be about Christmas time. My thought is that I am in this picture 10 months. I'm either, because I was born in February, so I'm either 10 months or 22 months. I will leave it up to some of you moms. If you agree with me that I am probably not quite a year old in this picture, if you want to put that in the chat, I would defer very much to you moms on this. But my hunch is that I am around 10 months in this picture, just before Christmas time. And the person holding me is my biological mother. And when I chose this picture and was looking for a picture to have today, I looked at this picture in a new way, and I really do appreciate the smile and the look on her face as she's looking at me. Pam says 10. don't think I was 10. I think a little younger than that. Maybe you meant 1, or you're just really giving me a hard time. But it is a picture. It looks like I had done something outrageously fantastic. And she seems to be pretty proud holding me up. Maybe I said something witty at 10 months, who knows? But really do appreciate that picture of a mother's love looking at me at that moment. And 7 years later, on a December day, December 7th, actually, the day of Pearl Harbor, she said goodbye to my brother and I, left us at the house, and went to my grandparents, who rented a garage from a lady down the block, an unattached garage for their car, because their house did not yet have a garage built on it. So she went to my grandfather, asked to borrow the keys, walked down the alley, went into the garage, closed the door behind her, and started the car. And she stayed into the car until she was gone. So, not too surprisingly, yours truly has some trust issues. And that is part of my journey. I'm not unique in being the child of someone who committed suicide by any means. But it is part of my story, and definitely part of, where having, that sense that things, are really not going to turn upside down in a moment, in a day, just before Christmas. is sometimes challenging for me. So definitely also a part of my journey. Our second reading is Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 through 25. And let us consider how we spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. So what I'm, talking about is really kind of my relationship with the two images on the screen. And definitely the image on the right is the Jesus I remember as a picture in my grandmother's bedroom. And so I think with some of those challenges I spoke of earlier, that's the image that's really kind of associated with those, I think, for me and for in thinking about Jesus and the challenge. So what I really want to talk about now, and I want to say a couple of times because I want this to be really clear, is the recent gift that I've gotten around Jesus and have gotten from our church recently. And I really do view it as a gift. So we've been, as you all know, doing these sermons as part of a congregation. And we've oftentimes had our own congregation members giving their sermons, and we've had some visitors as well coming in and ministering to us and running our service. And about a couple of weeks ago, I realized that I was hearing something that I just noted. I just brought my attention to, and I wasn't defensive about it. I didn't feel strange about it, but it came to my attention. And so when I think again about what Pema is talking about and being able to look at what's going on without anxiety, it really was one of those kinds of moments. Not with anxiety, not with defensiveness, but just a realization that over a few weeks, I'd heard Jesus talked about in the present tense. Discussion of what Jesus wants for us, what Jesus may have for us, and God as well. And those have been moments, good moments, again, real gifts on my journey that make me go, So yeah, what is my relationship with God and with Jesus? Am I at a place, especially with the image on the right, to talk about him in the present tense? And especially if I might be doing a service myself to do that. And if I'm honest, no, I'm not there yet. Oh, and maybe I never will be. I don't know if it's a place I need to be or have to be. But it's a question on my brain right now. Perhaps, so the image on the left comes from the website of the BBC when they did an article about, some of the discussion of which of these two images might best represent Jesus as he was as a historical figure. Maybe the image on the left is something that I can transition to thinking about. I don't know. I'll just have to think about it and see. But it's a question of mine, and I just appreciate being able to be at a place in my life where I can think about this question and, work on maybe not the answer, but, work on a answer. And what's that going to mean for me around faith, and what faith means, and being at that place of no anxiety around the mystery that is there, because we cannot know in this life, right? But it's the question that's come to me recently and has been, again, a true gift of this time that we've been doing services a bit differently without Brandon. So I don't know if that picture's in the way, but so here again, in a nutshell, is my journey. Part of it is looking down at everything that's kind of junky and messy in the lake. On the right, it's that journey of faith and mystery, and where things aren't so clear, right? That lake does not look quite as clear on the right as it does on the left. And both parts are parts that I'm trying to figure out now, along with the picture in the middle. And what does that mean for me and my faith going forward? So how do I figure out these three things? Well, it turns out a few years ago, I was riding my bike and I found out there's really this kind of sketchy subvert organization about 3 blocks from where I live. And they had this interesting sign that kind of spoke to me, and it was definitely a flag I recognized and knew about, but I didn't know about the people who had originally put that sign up. And, this for me goes to the second reading that I gave, and that's the community. And, it's, as I was just saying, it's not this question about Jesus and my thought on, is Jesus a historical figure or what for me? It's not something new. But as I said, it's now being able to hear that message at a place that I know loves me, that I have absolute trust in all ways. A place that I know has my back. All of that then is what makes, for me, this to be a journey that I can embrace and be in. And so, part of faith can be, right, that this is part of a plan that put this community so close to me. But just wanted to share just how much I feel I can be on this journey because of this community. So that's a little for me. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and go a little bit into social work mode, because that helps me feel comfortable and decompress. So what about you? What questions of faith might you have right now? It's been a challenging time, absolutely, over the year and a half of the pandemic. And what I love is that the United Church of Christ tells us that God is still speaking. And so, if he's speaking, there might still be some questions that we've got ourselves. So if you have your pen and your paper handy, I invite you to maybe think for a minute or so, and we are going to have some music, and maybe that's the time where if you want to think about a question that you have on your faith journey, it's now a time that you feel like writing it down. What I also know is that writing something down is different. It processes in our brain differently than speaking does. So my final piece, so this wasn't all about me, is to also ask you to think about what questions you have in your faith. And I think the more that we can, as a community, share a question, share our doubts, as well as the love and joy pieces that we're so good about, that can only help us all on our faith journey. To wrap up, will you please join in this prayer with me? God, help us to better see ourselves. Fill us with self-compassion and grace so we can more freely share your love of everyone on this planet. On our journey, allow us to steady the water to see what makes us who we are. God, help us to support one another at times when there is no clear answer, even when our question has to do with you. When our faith is tested, help us to move from the fear of uncertainty to accept you filled our world with siblings there to love us, to stand with us, and even to challenge us to dig deeper. On our journey, give us the courage of faith. God, sustain our community. Allow us to dig deeper, to question together lovingly, and to bring each other the understanding and compassion you want for us. Support our witness of how our church brings love, light, and hope into the world. On our journey, bring our different paths together to build lives of service, growth, happiness, and joy. Amen. All right, so as I mentioned, for music, I am going to play a very small portion of the fantastic music we had last night. So I'm just going to share about 4 or 5 minutes of this. Fantastic, right? And it was truly a beautiful evening weather-wise, and the number was about 60 this time, so a little late. A lot of people are on vacation, including people with the church. But it truly was a great night. All right, well, first, thank you all. I see the many comments you've made, and I truly appreciate that. And thank you for that. And joys and concerns. So please go ahead and type into the comments what joys and concerns you have. I did a lot of sharing today, so I want some joys and concerns in this chat. So give me some, folks. All right, so Elaine tells us, prayers of love and support to Mary Mantell, who's moving to Las Vegas this week, and to Marcia for organizing Wednesday's lunch for her. So Mary, we have such wishes for your safe journeys, and wish we were all together in the traditional way to be able to see you off. I'm glad some were able to gather, and wish you the very best. And I'm so glad that you're hopefully still going to be, well, you'll always be part of our family, but with our video service, which will continue in some way, even when we're back to church physically, that will help to keep you connected with us. So, and Marcia, thank you, yeah, so much for pulling things together. Again, it's not an easy time, so thank you for doing that. So Kent says, I think I am challenged weekly regarding God and faith, but always fall back on my relationship with Christ Church Chicago, its members, and the blessing of friends and family. So all of that definitely true. Can't I share that with you? So we also want Kent congratulates Lauren Matsu and Derek Yamagiwa on their marriage. Congratulations to them. All right. Sherry shares with us so many healing prayers needed for the many that are now contracting the Delta variant. Please pray for her friends, Gary and Rod. We'll definitely do that. Chelsea sharing something that she shared with us at council meeting this past week, that Sunny's had a retinal stroke and lost half the sight in her right eye permanently. So prayers for Sunny to help her to adjust to this and to keep her good health. And prayers for the Toyama and Takaki family on the passing of Hiro Toyama. Absolutely. And, you know, to still see the family have so many smiles, and to see, you know, the joy that came from Jared performing was fantastic. And what a tribute. What better tribute can there be to someone in their life than to see the fantastic gifts and the wonderful things that their family does. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And continue prayers for Linda Jarvis. She's in rehab after being hospitalized for respiratory illness. Absolutely, prayers for her. It's wonderful that she's become part of our Tri-C family, and so we'll have prayers for her and for Gerald Garrett as well. All right, I'll give another 20 seconds if anyone else has a joy and concern to share. And if not, then let us pray. God, thank you for this time of summer when the breeze is cool. The nights we can be outside, enjoying our community, giving to our larger community, and having the fellowship that we've had this unique opportunity to do during this time of COVID. Thank you for our dear family members who are now transitioning to live in different parts of the country. And thank you so much that we are in a time of technology where we will stay connected as a community, where we do not need to think about someone no longer being a member because they're not physically with us. That truly is a gift, and one that we hope we share with Mary. We know we share with Betty as she has moved, and continue to thank you for that. Thank you for marriages that occur that may have been postponed, that again have come through triumphantly through the challenge of COVID. We keep those with COVID in our continued prayers and think about them, and are thankful that things like marriages, like returning back to school, to being able to gather on our church lawn are still possible. Prayers for healing and adjusting to physical challenges that can occur, to even in the face of those challenges, to still remain vibrant and part of our community, to find that place of both care for oneself, as well as willingness to continue to engage in all the life offers. And thank you, God, for those who have left this life, but have left such a tremendous legacy that their family members, while they will always have a grief in their heart that does not grow smaller, but actually life grows larger. And life has experiences of seeing a grandson playing the piano, and allows that love and that growth to be able to nurture and care for the grief that we might feel in our heart. Let us now as a community come together in silent prayer to pray those prayers that are in our hearts, but together as a community, we share and send to you. Which we follow with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. All right. So just saw a couple other prayers come in. Prayers that Hilda have a good visit with her brother today. Absolutely. And prayers for those school officials as we do enter a new time going forward. All right, let me see if I can quickly capture my link here. Where did I put it? Is it here? No, is it there? Here it is. Can I do it? That's not what I want. Oh, I didn't do it right because I'm getting ready to do it on this computer and not here. Tuesday, if you're there and if you could share our link, next time I have to remember to do it on the phone. All right, any announcements that we have? Prayers for Haiti, absolutely. And I was talking with my friend who went to dinner after the concert. Poor Haiti, you know, and not that I wish badly for the Dominican Republic, but the Dominican Republic shares an island with Haiti, and yet Haiti seems to just get so many tragedies. So absolutely prayers for them. Thank you. Tuesday has put up the offering link so that you have that, and for Zelle. And let's see, do I do this one more time? Maybe not, we'll see. Brandon's coming back luckily, but if I do, maybe I'll be able to get on the phone. So Elaine lets us know outdoor service is being planned for Rally Day, which is September the 12th. So please put that on your calendar. Looking forward to an outside service and that being part of our transitioning and testing our ability eventually to be able to do services both virtually and live. So all those are going to be happening in September. Chelsea reminding us not to miss our final Music in the Garden concert. That's Saturday the 4th with Nick's rock band Boots in Transit and delicious food by Kelly Igichi. So, yep, please go ahead. Still summer stuff happening in September you want to be a part of. So make sure that you come and do that. All right, well, folks, thank you so much for allowing me to blabber on for 50 minutes. But again, I say that in my way of deflecting just how much this community means to me, and I think means to all of you. So go out, have a fantastic week. And I'm going to stay on a little bit so folks have those chances to say goodbye to each other. But thank you all so much, and we will see you next Sunday. Thanks, folks. All right, have a good one.